Bitcoin punches back above 114,000 after holding the 112K lows. Ethereum reclaims 4,400, and altcoins like Solana and Cardano are flashing breakout signals. But is this the next start of the next leg higher, or just another bull trap before fresh selling? Welcome back, Crypto Crew. We're going to break it all down for you. Welcome back. It's your boy Tom here. If you like what you see, make sure you give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day with Crypto Maniacs. All right, let's get right into it. So the numbers came out. They were basically as expected. So rate cuts are on the table. Now, they were actually looking for a deeper drop so they could say maybe a 50 basis point cut. So there's always a story, it's always a story in this marketplace. So they came in, okay, but it looks like it's just going to be a 25 basis point rate cut that's now on the table, as the market was actually thinking if it really cooled, they could see actually a deeper rate cut. But if I'm looking at the Forex market right now, I'm checking dollar yen out. It came off the highs of 148.18, trading right now at 147.40. So that's a little bit mixed. Okay, so anyway, let's go. Bitcoin's sitting tight right now, right around 114,000 after bouncing back from the 112,200 intraday low. 112 seems to be a nice, good support. Further on, Bitcoin spot ETFs recorded one of their largest single day inflows at around 741 million. Now, I want to point you to this chart right here. This was our don't close below chart from July 19th. And right now the market is recovering nicely. You could see that don't close below 115.7. That is the all-important price to get back over. That's the hurdle to get back over. Now, we're going to do some work on the 2-hour chart. Let's check it out so we can get right into the minutiae of things. We said if we got a breakout above this level, it would need to hold this level. This is, of course, it's a 2-hour chart, so it's very, very short term, but we spiked down below, but then recovered. Now we're using this, say I'm gonna extend this down a little bit to like 112,000. Although the true price is 113,528. The support now sits at 112,000. So the resistance is stacked, right at 116,000, that neckline that we see right here. The resistance is stacked, right? Like 116, 115.7 right now. Now, support sits strong right now at 112, okay? So if we can clear this 100 and say 16,000 up top, we've changed the market structure. A close above this 100 and say, let's say 114,000, a close above it would actually change the structure from going to neutral slightly bullish. A breakout above the 115.7 would actually turn us into a slightly bullish market. So you see all these different terms, right? Neutral, slightly bullish, to slightly bullish itself. So this is what we got to get through. We got to get through this 115.7. Now, if we look at the 12-hour chart, here was the breakout. This was a nice little chart to look at. It's actually showing the same thing. If bulls can clear the 116, we would be looking at a quick run towards 118.5, 119. But a failure down back below the 112 is going to open the 110, 108 support shelf again. That's just the way it goes. Right now, as it stands with the numbers, there's been a little bit of volatility, not much. Bitcoin seems to still be consolidating, which is good news for the Bitcoin bulls. Bad news for the bears. Bad news, bears. All right, so macro backdrop. Traders are still, we know that the Fed is going to, we can bet that they're going to cut rates, right? Who the heck knows with Powell? Now, we got two obstacles to the Fed. You got that lady, Lisa Cook, who's under investigation for mortgage fraud. And then Trump wanted to fire her for cause. And then you got some judge comes in and says, no, you can't fire her for something that she did before she became a governor of the Federal Reserve. Really weird. That's being appealed. The issue is if Trump can successfully remove her. She's one less vote for no rate cut. Now, you can know she's going to be digging her heels in right now saying, well, F you, because, you're trying to take me out. I'm not voting for any type of rate cut. I'm going to punish you more politically. So a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we got to keep our eye on. But the optimism of the 25 basis point cut is actually adding some tailwind to Bitcoin. As we can see, this breakout right here, nice breakout. We had a little bit of a retrace like we thought. And as I said before, we didn't even come down to the line as support. We're basically taking off. So we're clearing the 113.6. That's good. Next level is right there, the 117, but really is that 115.7 that we've been talking about. So if we look at Bitcoin, we want to talk about like really rare signals for the coin. We come over, we could see that Bitcoin itself is flashing one of the rarest signals, the golden cross. Now, in 2016, it did a 264% run upward. In 2017, monster 2,200%. In 2020, monster 1,190%. 2025 is the fourth time in history. It's not noise, it's ignition. This is really showing that the coin, once we clear all this nonsense, this coin is heading much, much higher. Now, we've been saying that we got resistance at 130,000. We could expect a pullback, maybe perhaps to 119,000, 118, or even potentially 115.7. Obviously, getting ahead of our skis because we're not there yet, and we will handle it as soon as we get there. We'll be posting and talking about what we think is going to happen and the best way to trade it. And the best way to trade it for you is get into our free group. Again, free meaning that all you have to do is deposit money into ETH, and you can trade or not. But if you want to follow our trades, that's the best place to be. I'm still waiting on Chris to give me the updates on the trades that were taken so I can show the folks out here on YouTube what we called and how much money the guys and gals made in our community. Chris, wake up. Where are you, man? All right. So anyway, right now, this rare signal itself is good news. And we know that Bitcoin is actually repeating the script. Okay, it's repeating the script of accumulation, shakeout, and expansion. And we could see it right here on this chart. I showed you this chart yesterday. It's a bit oversold on the stochastic RSI. Again, accumulation, the shakeouts, then the expansion. So here you have the accumulation, the slight shakeout, and then the expansion. Accumulation, shakeout, a deeper shakeout, expansion. Accumulation, okay, shakeout, expansion. Same thing is happening right here. Now we got the upper expansion up at 167,000, but as I said, we know that we're going to have some resistance at 130, but let's get there first, all right? Let's look at Ethereum. The descending wedge pattern itself in Ethereum is actually playing out pretty well right now. Ethereum right now sitting at 4,400. 4,500 right now, 4,600 is the gatekeeper, right? If we can get through that, close above that, it's going to break. And it's going to actually go, first stop, we're thinking 5,300, 5,400. Okay, so you got to be positioned before. We've been telling you about it. I'm going to take you over to WeX. I'm going to show you our trade that we have on the books, total transparency, warts and all. WeX, low fees, fast execution. All right, so right now what we got here, entry price, 4,348. It's up about 29.73. Nothing, nothing major, but it's on its way. It's moving in our direction. H bar underwater for the longest time. We told you H bar was a good scoop. Told you like 21 cents, that hey, it's about the same amount of money you'd spend at a bar. You might as well just pick up some H bar instead of going drinking beer, because you never buy beer, you only rent it. You know what I mean? So we gave you that clue. We're thinking H bar is going to be a big winner, and we're holding the coin, right? We show you exactly what we're doing, total transparency. So by Ethereum itself reclaiming the 4,400, it's a very, very good sign. Okay, the key resistance coming in at 4,500 right now, where the sellers have capped every rally for the past week. Now, a clean breakout could set the run towards 4,700. But if Ethereum loses the 43, right, which is very, very close, we can expect a retest of the 4,001 level, 4,150. Now, Ethereum ETFs added 175 million, okay, reflecting grower investor confidence. Now, where do you think they're getting the confidence from? We said it before. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. They got their sales forces back and forth. Of course they're getting more confident because they're being told by this. And so if you look at IBIT another one that actually added Bitcoin as well. So BlackRock was adding Bitcoin. You got Michael Saylor also, the Popeye the Sailor Man was adding Bitcoin. So you had a lot of the big whales that were accumulating in the fear, okay? As usual, is what you should do. I'm going to take you back at the end of the video. I want to show you something. I think it's going to make a great t-shirt, so hang on tight. But anyway, so Ethereum, the sleeping giant, the beast is starting to wake up. MACD just flipped green. 3 years of pressure coiled, ready to explode. Monthly candle says one word: bullish. Bullish. Clear 4,500. Ethereum is going to go parabolic. We're looking at 6,000. We're thinking Ethereum's going to 15, 20,000 in the long run. But this is where legends front run and the tourists are going to chase it. They're going to chase it, okay? So institutional flows, as I said, have been up. At first they were mixed, but long-term accumulation is still looking rock solid in this coin. So don't fade this. Don't fade it. Get into our group. We'll help you guide you through it, okay? So Ethereum is running the same script that it ran in 2017. I'm going to take you over. You can look at this. Look at the fractals. Okay, this is where I get excited about charts. I mean, yeah, you can call me a nerd. You can say whatever you want to say, but you want to know something? This stuff is just totally cool. It is just totally cool. Once you learn how to do this, I mean, I sit up at night. When I first originally started this business, charts weren't like this. You have to actually send away for a chart, and they would come on these huge sheets of paper, and I would sit there as a young aspiring trader, and we would sit there and we'd mark up our paper charts. Matter of fact, when my first roommate and I, Ralph, we used to have this huge bond chart on the marketplace. We drink a lot of beer, and we start looking at the chart, and we start like drawing trend lines and breakouts and all this stuff. We had no clue what we were doing technically, but you want to know something? It was a lot of fun back in the day. You look at the chart on the wall, go, hey, look, I didn't see that pattern. Let's check this out. You start drawing. The next day when you were sober, you would look and go, I don't know if that drawing was really good. It was more like a caveman drawing. But anyway, so we could see Ethereum's running a 2017 script to a T. 2017 range, breakout, and then mania. Now remember, back then, there wasn't any institutional flows. BlackRock wasn't involved. Okay, everybody was looking at these coins as on the periphery. They weren't mainstream. This is the difference today compared to yesterday. Yesterday, you want to know something? Guys and gals that were buying this stuff back then had incredible courage. Incredible courage, because there was nothing really to it. There was an idea, kind of like a freedom idea behind it. And people are buying into that idea. And those that invested, I give them total kudos, man. Great job. I'm going to tell you, to be completely candid, I was a naysayer. I actually believe, because of my institutional trading background, I didn't understand how the G7 would allow this. I didn't understand it, and I would argue with my kids about it. They would be talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and and I'd say, guys, the G7 is going to put a kibosh on this. They're not going to allow this. They only allow like one mafia, and that's the G7 itself. They're not going to allow. But I was foolish. I didn't know that really they couldn't really stop it. Had I would have known that, I would have done deeper research. So, old Forex trader, learned quite late about this, and I wish that I would have listened to the young voices. Sometimes, they're a lot brighter than the old coots like myself. But anyway, like we could see this, the same fractal but supercharged this time because of the institutions behind it. Okay, this time, in 2016, 2017, it was just retail. That's all it was. It was just retail. Today, it's major institutions. Okay, Wall Street, it's ETFs, it's global adoption of this stuff. Ethereum is not going to repeat this in any type of small way. It's not going to do it. The next move is going to rewrite the history. So, I mean, this is a chance to build generational wealth and get into our group. We'll talk about this stuff, and we'll help, like I said, guide you through all the madness, the short-term madness all the time. You can't get stuck looking, at one tree in the forest. You got to look at the whole forest. You got to take a drone up above and look at the total forest instead of just the trees. All right. So anyway, if we look at Bitcoin dominance, all right, we're waiting for this to crack 58. It's sitting right now at 58.14. We're thinking that if it cracks 58, it goes down to 57 and a half. Break, this is the beginning. It's the beginning of the crypto endgame, loading. Okay. And we're looking at 5.35 trillion as the ceiling. So if we come over, I could show you this right here where we see the diagonal pattern. Okay. We're looking at 5.35 trillion ceiling. Above it, the structure collapses into oblivion. Okay, so we're looking for that to actually happen, and then the marketplace to come off. So legends secure exits in this area. Okay, very quietly. Okay, retail always screams bullish at the top. Every cycle ends the same. The script doesn't lie, but we're not there yet. Okay, we're not there yet. So we got Solana pushing higher above its support at 82. It's actually trading right now at what? ADA is what? Hang on a second. Hang on, I gotta twist my neck. 88. Okay, so it broke 82. It's holding 82. That's a good thing for Solana. XRP is what? It's above. XRP is trading at like right around 3. Okay, it still hasn't broken out. 307 is the gatekeeper of XRP. We got Solana pushing higher with strongly daily volume, eyeing a breakout again. So it's holding tight. Overall, the altcoin market's heating up, but you gotta watch liquidity. Okay, there are going to be moves in both ways, sharp in both directions. Okay, now if we look at a very rare signal on altcoins, okay, we could look here, and why is that disconnected? We have actually the altcoin market cap itself. You could see the breakout is starting to happen. The same exact setup as happened in 2018 and 2021. Now I want to show you a golden cross that we got going. We got altcoins versus Bitcoin. Flash the golden cross. Back in 2017, you could see the run of altcoins, right? So every cycle, this was the spark before ignition. Every time altcoins went ballistic when this happened. So 2025 isn't smaller, it's bigger, just like Ethereum itself and on Bitcoin itself. Institutions are behind it. So now we got, that's why you got to get into good utility coins. I just want to fix this chart so it's kind of like centered. Merlin hates when like the charts are uncentered. He's very, very picky, this dude. But anyway, so 2025 isn't smaller, it's bigger, more liquidity, more adoption, more upside potential. It's not hoping, it's a trigger for the super cycle. It's all here for you. Okay. And again, get into our group. We'll help guide you through it. All right. So before we wrap up, I got to tell you about this free community that I've been talking about. If you come here, the link in the description. You click this link, you'll be taken over to a Telegram site where you could actually copy our trades. Okay, totally free. The only thing we ask is that you deposit into ETH. Okay, so we're dropping insane alpha trading opportunities daily. Chris, I need those trades that we've taken. Also, We got long-term setups here. We got really short-term gems. We got you covered. You want to follow our trades with our broker of choice. You come down here, you click this. Look, you get a 20% deposit bonus. That's nice, right? You click this link, you'll be taken over to WeX, the broker of our choice. Low fees, fast execution, no slippage. Really great broker. Really, really great broker. All right. So here, remember what I said? I got a great idea. So I want to take you back over to chart number one that I started with. Chart number one, what is it saying? It's saying if you look at this, you could see the movements from emotional to the patient. So the emotional are the retail. The patient are the disciplined traders, right? That's what we could see right here, okay? Now, I'm thinking that this chart's really saying to buy fear, buy again at despair, and sell when people fear of missing out. So you're actually buying fear and selling euphoria, right? So that's how you win this game, and you win this game by joining our community, okay? Because this is what we do. But don't you think this would make a great T-shirt? I buy fear, I buy despair, I sell when people fear of missing out. That's how you win the game. I think that would be a great T-shirt. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think. All right, make sure you come on over and you follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. All right, so what do you got to do? Well, you got to join our free community, okay? Next thing you got to do, you got to do your own research if you don't join our community, because we do the research for you and we actually help you out with research. You also have to trade with your head, not over it. All right. We're not financial advisors here. We're just traders and we like to talk trading. So we talk. Okay. So also, just as a recap, right before we go. All right. Bitcoin right now is at the tipping point, 114,000. Ethereum knocking on 4,500's door. Altcoins showing some sparks of life. So we're going to see if the bulls got the conviction to take us up to that 115.7. So also here on our X, we post every day everything all about everything that you could want to know about coins themselves. And also as a short-term trader, you got to enjoy the party, but dance near the door. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.